I'm 78 years old, and I spent most of my life being needed by people who never actually loved me. I didn't know that then. I thought I did. I thought being needed was proof that I mattered, that if people kept coming back, kept asking, kept depending on me, it meant I was important to them. It meant I was loved. I was wrong. I'm telling you this now because I don't have the luxury of pretending anymore. At my age, you stop lying to yourself. There's no point. The truth is all you have left, and the truth is this. I gave my best years to people who would have forgotten me the moment I stopped being useful. And by the time I realized it, everyone I actually wanted to love me was gone. I grew up in a house where love wasn't something you talked about. You showed it by working, by being reliable. My father worked 60-hour weeks at the plant. My mother kept the house spotless, cooked every meal from scratch, mended our clothes by hand. Neither of them ever told me they loved me, not once. But I knew they did, because they showed up. They sacrificed. They were needed. So that's what I learned. That's the template I carried into my own life. Be the one people can count on. Be the one who doesn't let anyone down. Be needed, and you'll be loved. I married young, 22. Her name was Claire. She was shy, soft-spoken, the kind of person who looked at you like you were the only thing in the room. I thought I'd won the lottery. I thought we'd build something solid, something that would last. And we did build something. Just not what I thought. Claire needed me. She needed me to handle the finances because numbers made her anxious. She needed me to make decisions about the house, the car, the vacations we never took. She needed me to be strong when she was scared, which was often, and I was happy to do it. I thought that's what a husband did. I thought that's what it meant to be a man. I worked in sales, office equipment, then later industrial machinery. I was good at it. People liked me. I could read a room, find the angle, close the deal. I brought home a steady paycheck, then a good one, then a great one. We bought a house in a nice neighborhood, 2 cars. We had everything we were supposed to have. But I was never home. Not really. I was there physically some nights. But even when I was sitting at the dinner table, I was thinking about the next client, the next quarter, the next thing I had to do to stay ahead. Claire would talk to me, tell me about her day, and I'd nod, make the right sounds, but I wasn't listening. I was needed at work. That's where I felt most alive. That's where I felt like I mattered. We had 2 kids, a son, then a daughter, Michael and Amy. I loved them. I know I did. But I loved them the way my father loved me, from a distance, through work, through providing. I missed Michael's first steps because I was in Pittsburgh closing a deal. I missed Amy's dance recital because I had a client dinner I couldn't reschedule. I told myself it was temporary, that once we were more secure, once I'd built something real, I'd slow down. I'd be there more. But there was always one more deal, one more promotion, one more reason to stay late, to travel, to be needed somewhere else. Claire stopped asking me to stay home. She stopped asking for much of anything. She raised the kids mostly on her own. She managed the house, the schedules, the problems. She became efficient at not needing me, except for the money I brought in and the occasional signature on a form. I thought that meant things were fine, that we'd found our rhythm. I didn't realize she was disappearing. The kids grew up. Michael went to college, then moved across the country for a job. Amy got married to a man I barely knew. They were polite with me, respectful, but there was no warmth, no real connection. I'd show up to their lives, for the big events, the weddings and graduations, and I'd feel like a guest, like someone they'd invited out of obligation, not love. I told myself it was normal, that kids grow up and move on. That's what they're supposed to do. But deep down, I knew. I knew I'd missed something I couldn't get back. I kept working. Even after I could have retired, I stayed. Because work still needed me. Clients called, colleagues asked for advice. I trained the younger guys, shared what I knew, made myself indispensable. It felt good. It felt like purpose. At home, Claire and I moved around each other like roommates. We were polite, we didn't fight, we just didn't connect. I assumed that's what long marriages looked like: comfortable, quiet, settled. Then one morning, she didn't wake up. Heart attack. Sudden. The doctor said she probably didn't feel anything. I was 71. We'd been married for 49 years, and I realized at her funeral that I didn't really know her, not the way I should have. I knew her routines, her preferences, the way she took her coffee. But I didn't know what she dreamed about, what scared her, what she wanted from the life we'd built together. I'd been so busy being needed that I'd never stopped to see her, to really see her. People came to the funeral: neighbors, her book club friends, women from the church she'd started attending years ago without me. They cried. They told stories about her kindness, her humor, the way she'd listened to them, supported them. They talked about a version of Claire I barely recognized. One of them, an older woman named Diane, pulled me aside after the service. She looked at me with something that wasn't quite pity, but close. She said, "Claire loved you, you know. She really did. But I don't think she ever felt like you needed her." I didn't know what to say. She smiled sadly. She needed to be needed too. We all do. I went home to an empty house and realized I'd spent 50 years being needed by everyone except the person who mattered most. The company threw me a retirement party a few months later. It was nice. They gave me a plaque, some speeches. People shook my hand, said kind things. A week later, my work phone stopped ringing. The emails dried up. The guys I'd trained moved on with their careers. I'd spent decades making myself indispensable, and it turned out I was completely disposable. Michael calls once a month, maybe. Amy a little more often. But it's always rushed, distracted. They have their own lives, their own kids. I'm proud of them. I am. But when they talk to me, I can hear it. The duty in their voices, the obligation. They're calling because they're supposed to, not because they want to. I never taught them to want to. I didn't teach them what love looked like, because I didn't know myself. I thought showing up with money and solutions was enough. I thought being the person they turned to when something broke was the same as being the person they turned to when they were hurting. It's not. I sit in this house now, the same house Claire and I bought 40 years ago, and it's too big, too quiet. I keep the TV on most of the day just to hear voices. I go to the grocery store more often than I need to, just to have somewhere to go, just to be around people, even if we don't talk. Sometimes I'll see a man my age with his grandkids, and I'll watch them, the way the kids climb on him, laugh with him, trust him, and I wonder what I did wrong. Why my grandkids barely know me. Why, when they visit, they're polite but distant, like I'm some old stranger their parents make them see. I know why. It's because I was a stranger to their parents, too. I spent my whole life being the person people called when they needed something fixed, something paid for, something solved. I was good at it. I was reliable. I was needed. But I was never loved. Not the way I thought, not the way I wanted, because being needed isn't love. It's a transaction. It's conditional. The moment you stop being useful, it ends, and you're left with nothing but the empty space where a life should have been. I wish I'd known that when I was 30, or 40, or 50. I wish I'd put the phone down when my kids asked me to play. I wish I'd stayed home on a random Tuesday just to have dinner with Claire. I wish I'd asked her what she was thinking, what she wanted, how she really felt. I wish I'd been present, not just present. But I didn't. I kept chasing the feeling of being needed. I kept mistaking productivity for love. I kept thinking there would be time later. Time to slow down, time to connect, time to be the husband and father I always meant to be. There wasn't. Now I'm here, 78, healthy enough, physically, but so alone it's hard to breathe sometimes. I don't tell you this for pity. I don't want that. I'm telling you because maybe you're younger than me. Maybe you still have time. Maybe you're sitting in an office right now or staring at your phone, or telling yourself you'll be there for the people you love once things settle down. They won't settle down. There will always be another email, another deadline, another person who needs you. But the people who love you, they won't wait forever. they'll learn to stop needing you. And once that happens, the love goes with it, not out of cruelty, but out of survival. Because people can't love someone who's never really there. You think you're building something for them, a life, a future, security. And maybe you are. But if you're not there to share it with them, what's the point? I have money. I have a nice house. I have everything I worked for. And I would trade it all, every single dollar, every accomplishment, every deal I ever closed, for one more morning with Claire, where I actually listened, for one more afternoon with my kids, where I wasn't distracted, for one real conversation, where I let them know me, and I took the time to know them, but I can't. That time is gone. Those people are gone, or they've moved so far beyond me that I'm just a name in their phone, a box to check on holidays. I earned that. I built this loneliness with my own hands, and now I get to live in it. If you're reading this or listening, and something in you recognizes what I'm saying, please don't do what I did. Don't mistake being needed for being loved. Don't assume the people who matter will always be there waiting for you to finally show up. They won't. And when they're gone, when you're sitting alone in a house that's too quiet, you won't care about the things you accomplished. You'll only care about the moments you missed, and there's no getting them back. I don't know how much time I have left. Not much, probably. And I'll spend it the way I've spent the last 7 years. Alone, wishing I'd done it differently. Wishing I'd understood sooner that love isn't about what you provide. It's about being present, being seen, being vulnerable enough to need someone else, and letting them need you, not for what you can do, but for who you are. I never learned that. And now, it's too late.